Hey guys, this is still a Joe on your screen again. So we'll be cutting the trousers today. So if you remember the video we did on body measurements, we did sets of videos that showing how to measure for pants. So we are working with length, we're working with waist, we're working with lap, and we're working with the knee, and we're working with the boot. So I'm writing it here so we can always remember. So for this particular pants we'll be cutting today, the length is 37, the waist is 32, the lap is 24, the knee is 17, and the boot is 14. So we move to the cutting pattern. So when you want to draft your trousers, you need your straight ruler, you need your leg ruler, and you need your arm size curve. These are the three important tools you'll be needing, and your cutting shears for cutting out the pattern. So let's jump onto it. So to get your trouser, the first thing you want to do is to fold your fabric. So there are two different types of fold for drafting a trouser. We have the senator's fold and we have the Ankara fold. We have the senator's fold and we have the Ankara fold. So for the senator's fold, you get the edge of your fabric. So this is called the selvage line or the English line. You get these two edges together, they meet each other like this. You fold into two equal halves. You can see the fabric. So this is just one trouser length, and fold into two equal halves like this, and I place it on the table. So this is how to fold for our senators. So if you have a fabric that this point is not straight, you can get your straight ruler. And just make it straight by ruling another line on it with your straight ruler. So you make it straight. So now the edge is even. So once the edge is even, you consider this line to be your waistline. So to get the length of the trouser, remember we have identified it as our waistline. So you place from there, take your tape downwards to wherever the length of the client stop, which is 37. So you can see I've marked by 37, and you add your folding allowance for the boot of your trouser. The boot of your trouser always has folding, so I'm adding 2.5 inch allowance. It's marked out. So I'll move my tape forward again. Remember we are trying to achieve a straight line, so I'll move my tape forward again and mark the 37, which is here, and plus my folding allowance 2.5, which is here. After that, you get your straight ruler, you join the two lines together. So you can see, so this is our full length, this is our plus 2.5 inch folding allowance. So the next measurements we are about to apply now is the lap measurements. So before you apply the lap measurements, you need to get the lap line. You know, we have just applied the waist. This is the waist, there's the full length, there's the plus 2 inches folding allowance, plus 2.5 inches folding allowance. So the next measurement we want to get now is the lap. So to get where the lap line will be positioned, we work with what we call the lap determinant. So for the lap determinant, I've structured it in a way, I did not just come up with it. I've gotten this lap determinant through experiences of sewing for several years. So I used it now to construct a formula that you can use to get the exact lap, the exact crush depth. The distance between your waist and your lap line is called a crush depth. So to get the right crush depth to apply your lap measurement, you are working with what I call the lap determinant. So these are it is for lap 24. For this measurement, we are using lap 24. The other measurements, the other lap determinants for other lap measurements will be placed on your screen so you can see them and write them out. So for lap 24, we are working with 9.5. Lap 24, it's 9.5 inches downwards. So you can see where I'm placing my tape. I'm placing my tape directly on the waistline. So from the waistline downwards, I apply my lap determinant for lap 24. So the lap determinant for lap 24 is 9.5. I mark it out 9.5. So I move forward again and mark it out again 9.5. Once I'm done with that, I get my straight ruler and I get my straight line. So this is it. So I've gotten my waistline, I've gotten my lap line or crush depth line, I've gotten my full length, I've gotten my folding allowance. So the next measurement you want to get is your knee measurement. Remember, we're applying knee measurement. So to get your knee measurement, you simply do this. You get from the waist downwards to your full length, which is 37, divide it by 2. 37 divided by 2 is going to give you 18.5. So this is 18.5, right? So from this 18.5, you go downwards by 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch, which will stop at 20. So remember, 37 divided by 2 is 18.5 plus 1.5 inch, which is 20 inches. So I mark my 20 inches there. I mark my 20 inches here also. So, and I join again. So I now have my 5 most important line for trousers. So when you want to draft trouser, you need these 5 line: the waist line, the crush depth line, the knee line, the full length line, and the plus 2.5 inch folding allowance line. So after this, the next thing we want to do is to get the structure of our trousers. So to get the structure of our trousers, for working with lap 24, if you are working with lap 24, I'm going to also paste it on your screen. From this lap to this lap, this is what you use at the boot region. So you want to come to the boot region now and take 2.5 inch forward. 2.5 inch forward. You go up a little bit, take another 2.5 inch forward. The reason I'm not giving you a specific measurement now to go up and take the 2.5 inch forward is because if you are working with a short measurement, a client that has a short length, like length 33, if I tell you now to go up by 7 inches and take your 2.5 inch forward, you find that in lap 10 and 33, by the time you go up by 7 inches, you're already getting close to the knee line. So that's why I did not give you a specific measurement. So you go forward, up forward a little bit and mark your 2.5. You mark the 2.5. The first one is marked at the full length line. The second one is marked upwards a little bit. You get your straight ruler and you mark it. You draw a straight line there. Can you see it? So that's the straight line. So after this now, on this point, you want to apply your boot measurement here. So your boot measurement, you divide your boot measurement by 2. So our boot is 14. Boot 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. So boot 14 divided by 2, 7 inches. So I'll mark 7. I'll go up a little bit. Mark 7 again. So my shock broke. Mark 7 again. Then I get my straight ruler and I join. So can you see what I'm doing? So you can see that the trouser is already forming. So the next thing we want to get now is our leg ruler. So we'll get our leg ruler and we'll apply the structure of the pant. So to get the structure of the pant, this is your leg ruler. You must know how to work with this ruler. So if you check the shape of the trouser from the boot is usually like this. So which means when you want to work with the leg ruler, you use this part, not this part. If you use this part, it's going to be looking like a hip curve ruler. If you can see, it is already looking like hip curve ruler. You work with this part that slants outward. So we are going to place our leg ruler from the crush depth line. You can see it from the crush depth line meeting the line that we drew at the boot. You understand? So I'm drawing it now. That's the importance of having a leg ruler. So you can see it from the crush depth line to the boot, not the waist from the cross depth line. I placed my ruler like this. I did not place my ruler like this. If you place it like this, it's going to be looking like a hip curve ruler. So like this, I've applied that, right? So the next thing you want to do, still the same ruler, you move it, you have to turn it this other way, like looking like a hip. Remember, the human body is not straight, it has curve. That's the hip region. There's curve on the human body. It's not a straight measurement. So because of that, I will turn it now to look like a hip curve. So you can see it. It's looking like a hip curve, and I'll position it perfectly well and get a second line, which is this. So I'll take it out now. Can you see the second line? Now you'll be asking me, why did I not join this to this point? Remember, the human body does not have any sharp curve. So if I join this now to this point, it will be having a sharp curve. So I need to get the exact shape of the human body, which is a slant C, a slight C. So that's what I did here. That's why I blended it forward. So this is called blending. You are making sure this and this, they tally together. So by the time you are done getting this, you apply every other measurement. So you make sure you get it. This part is the most important part of your trouser. If you don't get this part well, your trouser will not be well fitted. That's why I told you need your leg ruler. So the next measurement to apply now is our knee measurement. So the knee is 17. You divide your knee measurement, knee 17 by 2. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So we apply the knee measurement 8.5. After that, you get your straight ruler. You can use your straight ruler. You can use your leg curve to do that. So the next measurement we're applying now is the lap measurement, which is lap 24. So lap 24, you divide by 2. If you notice, we have been dividing everything by 2. Remember, when we were taking the measurements, we took measurement for just one leg, at the boot, at the knee, and at the lap. So we are dividing by 2. So the lap now divided by 2, which is going to give us 12, because this is lap 24, 12. So once you finish marking your so as I was saying, if you take the lap measurement, which is lap 24 divided by 2, it's going to give us 12. We have marked it here, 12. So we are going to go back by 2 inches. So you go back by 2 inches. Can you see it? Lap 24. Go back by 2 inches. This thing is called the crush extension. It's called the crush extension. Take note of that. So I've gone back by 2 inches. So you leave it like that also. Then now you come to the waist. Remember, we were taking the waist measurement. We took the full waist measurement round. So because of that, we'll be dividing the waist measurement by 4. Every other measurement was divided by 2, but the waist measurement will be divided by 4. So the waist is 32. 32 divided by 4 will give you 8, which is 32 divided by 2 is 16. Divide 16 by 4 is 8. So we apply 8 inches here. Then you add 1 inches for sewing allowance. So plus 1 inches, which is plus 1 inch rather, sorry for that, plus 1 inch, which is 9. So I've applied 9 there. You can see it. Remember, when we were taking the other measurements, we did not add seam allowance, because all the seam allowance for this dress will be at the back, aside from the waist. Aside from the waist, every other seam allowance will be at the back view of our pants, aside from the waist. So once we are done with that, the next thing you want to do is to connect your waist measurement to the crush extension that we brought back. So the crush extension is these 2 inches we took back. Take note of this. Connect your waist measurement to your crush extension that you brought back, the 2 inches brought back, with your straight rule. So we have done that. The next thing you do is to get your leg rule. Remember, your leg rule, I told you, if you use it like this, it's going to look like an hip curve. And you know the trouser is supposed to come like this. So because of that, we'll turn our ruler, our leg rule, like this, getting the exact trouser shape. So with your leg rule, you're going to join the lap measurement. You can see it. You join the lap point to the knee point using the leg rule. We are using the most curved part of the leg rule. Here is a little bit straight. It shows that it will be for the boots, right? While here is very curved. So we are using this curved part to get it. So I've applied it here now, from here meeting this, and I just draw like that. You can see it. You can see where I've gotten it. Then the next thing you want to get is to join from the knee point down to the boot. So you are going to blend it. Remember, if you are joining here is not very close, it's not very curved, so you want to make sure you are using the part of the leg rule that is not very curved to join that. So it comes like this. You can see it, the leg rule. Remember, when I was doing this, I started directly from here, but when it comes to this now, I go down a little bit so I can get the perfect shape for this pant. So for this trouser, you must know how to work with your leg ruler. If you know how to work with your leg ruler, everything will be easy for you. So this is it. So this is the trouser. So the next thing I want to do is at this waist region. Remember the human body. If you take a look at the human body, you notice that your front part, the front part of your body is kind of slopey a little bit. It's not straight, it's slopey, it's coming slanted a little bit like this, while the back region is kind of high. The butt part is higher than the front part. So because of that, we are coming down here by 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch is that 3/4, which we have 4 quarters that makes up a whole number on your tape. So 3/4, which is the number before 1 inch. So this is 1/4, this is another quarter. From here to here, it makes up a quarter. So 3/4 of an inch is the number before that. You mark it. Remember, this part is the front of your trousers. So I've marked my 3/4 of an inch. I get my straight ruler. You are going to join it back to the waistline. So this part of the trouser now is this side of your trouser. Here is straight, here is not slope. This is where we have the slope. So because of that, we are joining it back to meet this point like this. Like this, you can see it. So we have our slant at the front already. We have our slant. So the next thing, you want to get your small armhole curve, the small armhole curve, to do this curve here. So for the small armhole curve now, this is it. I bring it to this part. I make sure I blend it from here. You can take a look at it. This is the perfect shape for your trouser. You can see how fitted and how beautiful it's looking even before sewing. So after this, the next thing you want to do is to cut out. You want to cut out what you have drafted. So you can either start your cutting from the base or you start from up. So we are starting from the base. Remember, we folded it into two, so I've cut it out. You can now see it. So let me stretch it so you can see. So this is the trouser. It's in 2 pieces now, which is the 2 front panels. So these are the 2 front panels for your trouser. So on the next video, you'll be seeing the back panel.